Chapter 8 of the Kybalion, the Planes of Correspondence Explained. Welcome back to our journey through the Kybalion. Today we open the door to Chapter 8, which reveals the principle of correspondence in its deepest form. You have probably heard the Hermetic saying, "As above, so below, as below, so above." At first, these words may sound poetic, but in truth, they are the very key to understanding how the universe itself is woven together. The Hermetic masters taught that all of creation is layered in planes or levels of existence. These planes are not separate worlds divided from one another. Instead, they are like reflections in a vast mirror, each one echoing the same truth in its own form. The physical, the mental, and the spiritual are not distant realities, but correspondences. Each reflects the others. Think for a moment about the smallest particle of matter we can see through a microscope. Its patterns, its orbits, its vibration. Now think about the vast galaxies stretching across infinite space, different in scale, yet almost identical in structure. The atom is a solar system in miniature. The solar system is an atom in grand design. This is the meaning of correspondence. The same laws, the same blueprints, repeated above and below. The masters used this principle as a key. By studying what is near, we learn about what is far. By examining the body, we gain insight into the soul. By looking at the stars, we learn about the mind. Nothing in the universe is isolated. Every part carries the pattern of the whole. This is why the Hermetic tradition insists that the universe can be read like a book, and each page reveals the entire story if you know how to look. Now, what does this mean for us? It means that the physical plane, the mental plane, and the spiritual plane are not random or disconnected. They are different expressions of the same truth. What happens on one plane ripples into the others. Your thoughts create vibrations that shape the physical world. Your spirit inspires your mind, which then directs your body. The higher guides the lower, and the lower reflects the higher. When the Kybalion says, "As above, so below," it does not only point to the stars and the heavens, it points inward as well. The universe above mirrors the universe within you. Your inner state is not separate from your outer experience. If your mind is clouded, your life becomes clouded. If your spirit is lifted, your body feels lighter. The planes correspond. This chapter invites us to study these planes more closely. First, the physical, the realm of matter and energy. Then the mental, the realm of thought and consciousness. And finally, the spiritual, the realm of the divine and eternal. Each one has its own laws, yet all flow from the same source. As we explore them, we will see how the same principle is at work across every level of reality. So let us begin with the first plane, the physical. The first plane the Kybalion introduces us to is the physical plane. This is the most familiar to us, the world we touch and see, the realm of matter, energy, and life. At first glance, it seems obvious. Rocks, rivers, mountains, bodies, and stars. Everything that appears solid and visible belongs to this level. But the Hermetic teachings remind us that the physical is not simple. It is layered and filled with mystery. The physical plane is itself divided into different levels of vibration. The ancient teachers spoke of 7 subdivisions within it, each reflecting a higher or lower rate of vibration. Though modern science has different terms, the principle is the same. Matter is not dead. Energy is not separate from form. Everything is alive with motion, pulsing with the rhythm of life. At the lowest levels, we find the forms of matter that seem dense and immovable. Rocks, metals, earth, and the building blocks of the material world. Yet even these are alive with unseen vibration. What appears solid is simply a slower rate of motion. Science confirms this with the study of atoms and subatomic particles. Nothing rests, everything moves. Above these we find higher expressions of physical life. Plants and animals each carry more complexity, more subtle forms of vibration. Life force animates them, carrying the seed of intelligence, though in varying degrees. And above them still is humanity, where physical form becomes the temple of mind and spirit. The physical plane also contains the realm of energy, heat, light, magnetism, electricity, and countless forces that flow unseen but very real. These are not separate from matter, but matter in a different mode of vibration. Fire is not dead, nor is lightning without intelligence. They obey laws, and those laws echo the higher planes. The ancients recognized that what we call the physical is only the first step into the mystery. They looked at the body and saw not only flesh, but the reflection of higher truths. The heart beating in rhythm mirrors the rhythm of the cosmos. The cycles of birth, growth, decay, and renewal mirror the great cycles of worlds and ages. The seasons of nature mirror the seasons of the soul. Even the tiniest physical object carries within it the whole story of the universe. The seed contains the tree. The drop of water contains the laws of the ocean. The body of a human contains the pattern of the cosmos. This is why the Hermetic master could look at the simplest thing and read from it the secrets of the highest realities. The principle of correspondence teaches that by studying the physical, we can begin to understand the mental and the spiritual. But it also warns us not to stop here. The physical is not the whole truth. It is the most visible reflection, but only a reflection. To stop at matter is to stop at the surface of the mirror, without realizing there is depth behind it. The wise student does not worship the physical, nor does he reject it. Instead, he learns from it, reads its symbols, and follows them upward to the higher planes. So the physical plane is our entry point. It is the foundation, but it is not the whole. Just as the root supports the tree, but the branches and fruit reveal the greater purpose. So the physical supports life, but points to something beyond itself. When we understand the physical plane as correspondence, we can see that our bodies, our world, and even the stars above are not isolated. They are part of a grand design that reflects the unseen realms of mind and spirit. Now that we have touched the physical plane, the Kybalion leads us upward into the mental plane, where thought and consciousness reveal even greater mysteries. Beyond the physical plane lies the mental plane, the realm of thought, imagination, and consciousness. While the physical is the world of form, the mental is the world of ideas, patterns, and unseen forces that shape form. To the Hermetic master, the mental plane is not less real than the physical. It is more real, for it is the plane where causes originate before they manifest below. Every invention, every structure, every piece of art began first as a thought. Before a house is built, it exists as an idea in the mind of the architect. Before a song is sung, it exists as a melody within the imagination of the composer. This is the power of the mental plane. It is the womb of creation, the unseen field where form begins to take shape. The ancients taught that the universe itself is mental in nature. The all, the infinite source, holds within it the archetypes and laws that flow into every plane below. Just as your mind contains ideas that can become realities in your life, so the cosmic mind holds the patterns that become worlds, stars, and beings. This is the principle of correspondence at work. The mind of the individual mirrors the mind of the universe. On this plane, we see the truth of vibration even more clearly. A single thought sends ripples outward. influencing not only your body, but the environment around you. When the mind is filled with fear, the physical body weakens. When the mind is filled with peace, the body strengthens and heals. And when the mind is aligned with spirit, the whole being rises. The mental plane is also where we encounter imagination and visualization. These are not childish fantasies, but creative powers. To imagine is to shape energy. To visualize is to begin building on the inner level what can later manifest on the outer. The ancients used symbols, rituals, and meditation to focus their mental powers, knowing that what the mind creates, the body and world eventually reflect. Your inner dialogue is also part of this plane. The thoughts you repeat, the stories you tell yourself, become programs written into your reality. This is why the Hermetic teachings stress mastery of mind. To master the mental plane is to master the seed of creation. By changing your thoughts, you change your vibration. By changing your vibration, you change the experiences drawn to you. And so we see that the mental plane corresponds to both the physical and the spiritual. It bridges the two, carrying impressions downward into matter and upward into spirit. When your mind is elevated, you can access higher truths. When your mind is clouded, you distort what filters down into your life. This is why the ancients spoke of the mind as both a ladder and a mirror. It can lift you upward or reflect downward. The mental plane reminds us that we are creators, not only observers. Every thought is a brushstroke on the canvas of your life. Every belief is a seed planted in the garden of your experience. And every moment of mental focus is a choice that shapes your path. Pause for a moment and ask yourself, what thoughts have I been repeating? What vision of myself am I creating? If the mental plane is always shaping the physical, then what am I building right now with the images and beliefs I hold? Type the word vision in the comments if you are ready to align your mind with your highest self and begin creating with intention. Beyond the physical plane of matter and the mental plane of thought lies the highest of the three great planes, the spiritual plane. This is the realm of pure spirit, the level where divine essence resides and the eternal truths flow. While the physical shows us form and the mental shows us thought, the spiritual reveals the source that gives birth to them both. The spiritual plane is not something we can measure with instruments or fully define with words. It is subtle, infinite, and eternal. The ancients taught that this is the home of the higher self, the divine spark within every being. It is the point of contact between the soul and the all. On this plane, separation dissolves. All distinctions of form and thought merge into unity. To the human mind, this plane may seem distant or inaccessible. Yet moments of deep meditation, prayer, stillness, or mystical experience give us glimpses of it. When you feel overwhelming peace, when love rises in your heart for no reason, when clarity strikes like a flash of light, these are touches of the spiritual plane filtering into your life. This plane is the source of higher causes. It is here that divine ideas are formed before descending into the mental and physical planes. The Kybalion reminds us that the higher influences the lower, and the lower reflects the higher. What begins in spirit flows into thought. What begins in thought flows into matter. To reach upward into the spiritual is to align yourself with the highest currents of creation. Those who walk the path of inner mastery strive to connect with this plane more often, not to escape the world, but to bring its light downward. The sage, the mystic, the healer, each draws from the spiritual level and channels it into words, thoughts, and actions that uplift others. When the spirit shines through the mind and into the body, a human life becomes radiant with power and peace. On the spiritual plane, truth is not debated, but known. Love is not earned, but simply is. Life is not temporary, but eternal. The more we attune to this reality, the more we see that we are not small beings lost in a chaotic world. We are sparks of the infinite flame, connected across all planes. The great Hermetic masters encourage students to meditate upon the correspondences between spirit, mind, and body. Just as the sun gives light to the planets, the spirit gives light to the mind and body. Just as the roots feed the tree and the branches, the spirit nourishes the lower planes. The correspondence is constant, unbroken, eternal. Though we cannot fully live in the spiritual plane, while in physical form, we can reflect it daily, through acts of kindness, through thoughts of clarity, through alignment with truth. We let the light of the higher flow into the lower, and in doing so, we fulfill the very principle of correspondence that this chapter reveals. The spiritual plane is not far away. It is within you now. Every breath, every thought, every moment of stillness is a doorway. The question is not whether the plane exists, but whether you are willing to open to it. Those who walk the path of inner mastery strive to connect with this plane more often, not to escape the world, but to bring its light downward. The sage, the mystic, the healer, each draws from the spiritual level and channels it into words, thoughts, and actions that uplift others. When the spirit shines through the mind and into the body, a human life becomes radiant with power and peace. On the spiritual plane, truth is not debated, but known. Love is not earned, but simply is. Life is not temporary, but eternal. The more we attune to this reality, the more we see that we are not small beings lost in a chaotic world. We are sparks of the infinite flame, connected across all planes. The great Hermetic masters encourage students to meditate upon the correspondences between spirit, mind, and body. Just as the sun gives light to the planets, the spirit gives light to the mind and body. Just as the roots feed the tree and the branches, the spirit nourishes the lower planes. The correspondence is constant, unbroken, eternal. Though we cannot fully live in the spiritual plane while in physical form, we can reflect it daily, through acts of kindness, through thoughts of clarity, through alignment with truth. We let the light of the higher flow into the lower, and in doing so, we fulfill the very principle of correspondence that this chapter reveals. The spiritual plane is not far away. It is within you now. Every breath, every thought, every moment of stillness is a doorway. The question is not whether the plane exists, but whether you are willing to open to it. As we close our study of Chapter 8 of the Kybalion, remember that the three planes are not distant realms but living truths within you. Your body is the reflection of your mind is the reflection of your spirit, and your spirit is the reflection of the infinite. To live with this awareness is to walk in harmony with the universe itself. May you carry this principle into your daily life, seeing every reflection as a doorway to deeper wisdom, and remembering always, as above, so below. If you are ready to continue this journey with us, make sure to like this video and subscribe so you do not miss the next chapter in our exploration of the Kybalion. Together, we will keep unlocking these ancient truths and bringing them to life.